Uh,
What's up, guys? It's your boy CrazyMaze98, aka Nicholas Morales, founder of the EHG community. I'm I'm here with my boy Walter Lash, and welcome to another episode of the EHG Black Hole. Um, this is gonna be many different topics that we're gonna be discussing. It's gonna be, me and him having like certain opinions about it, and explaining what these topics are about, and then possibly trying to find out what people can do about it, what we would do about it, or so on and so forth. Just to put out a nice announcement, as I said, we do have a GoFundMe towards a PC build that we're trying to get for the channel. The PC build is dedicated to actually making the channel better. I'm actually going ahead and doing things like gaming on PC, have people join our Discord and be part of the streams, and and just anything, just try, like, if you want, you guys could be able to donate. Any amount would be so grateful, and we want to go ahead and give you guys a better channel and better content. All right, Walter, are you there?
yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Just to make sure, um, on you have it just set to always allow on the
Yep.
PlayStation thing. Cool, cool. Um,
I never change it.
Alright, cool. Can you just like see if you could higher your microphone volume a little bit more? So
Yeah.
just at least a little bit before good, because I want to see if like we could get your voice in. Let me know when you got it done. Are you down?
Is that better?
There you go.
Okay.
Alright, so there's a major thing that I wanted to talk about, especially with someone, because every time when I mention this, a lot of people get back. Oh yeah, and lower that mic thing a little bit. I'm hearing like some type of droning in the back. Just a little bit more. Sorry.
You're
Um,
good.
I know you'll probably listen. You can hear me after this. Like
What's
there.
up?
Okay, so there were some things that I always tend to debate with some people and tend to have an opinion on with some people, and people get pissed off at me right on the spot. So this is what I want to discuss. So I always ask this question per se on with things like who is to blame for like certain circumstances. So like let me go ahead and put this as an idea. So there's you know EA is having like like a terrible time right now. Has been having a terrible time literally for like games and everything, and like microtransactions, and like everybody is going against that company majorly. Now, I always ask this question: who is really to blame? Is it the company for one trying out these ideas, or is it the consumer putting in money towards the actual company? Because the problem I'm having with this is that you know people don't seem to understand is that they have a major power with their wallet. And if you stop putting in money towards the company, then it makes a big difference. So I'll give an example. Of course, you got Battlefront 2, right? Have you played Battlefront 2?
The Star Wars Battlefront 2? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so
Yeah.
the game overall was not bad. It's just that the problem was the microtransactions. Now, now in the process of that, people still bought the game. On like situations like that, who can you really blame? Now, for me, I would say that the consumer and the actual company have to share the blame on this. Why? Because of the fact that the business area has literally took the actual development companies and literally like and excuse my language, shat on them, and went ahead and caused those companies to lose money, caused people that gave the titles to go against them, like, you know, with Disney. And with that, you know, there's that with EA being, like, you know, excuse me, not reliable. Um, that's where EA is put to blame. But also for the consumer, I feel as if they're to blame because, as I said, you're powerful with your wallet, and people have still put in money towards the company because sadly there are titles that people like Dragon Age and Mass Effect. So that's where I am on that. So what do you think? Like, what's your opinion on that?
All right, so this is actually one of the things I wanted to talk with you about eventually, and I'm glad you brought it up today because I'm kind of like more or less starting to realize this more as I look through everything on Facebook, you know, Instagram, YouTube, and stuff. We kind of have hit like a baby booming session for gaming in the worst possible way. So, kind of backtracking a little bit to start this off, when you had like the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3, right? You had that nostalgia of playback compatibility. We did not really have that, nor do we have that today to the extent that it used to be. And I feel like since the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One has come out, it's kind of been like hand in hand, where, you know, the consumer feeds the big fat money bloated guy with all the bags of money under him, which is the producers of these games. There are quite an extensive amount of games out there that are good, that are great, and like far above those pars. But I've noticed, now I'm turning 23 on Monday, and I've been playing since I'm about like 4 years old. So almost 19 years now, I've noticed our games are getting worse and worse. Like, I was just playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey. The only Assassin's Creed game to be stuck up with a pay to progress or grinds 100 hours into the game per one game. You know, games like this, for an example, when you had the first one come out, it was just hack and slash, climb a wall, jump down on a guy, go back, you know, with that little feather tag of blood, and you get a new ability. Not this game. You're spending an hour going from level 14 to 16 or even longer. Where, yes, you have better graphics, you have better gameplay, you know, the play engines are smoother, but you're not getting the enjoyment you'd get off a PlayStation 3 game. You don't get the enjoyment off PlayStation 2 and 1, and you're right. To be honest, it's a 50-50 split. With us feeding the producers all this money, they're just looking at it as, okay, well now the sequel for this game could be absolute crap. We can like pretty much stick it in a shredder and someone's going to buy it for $60 or $40. You know, where, you know, previous gens, you had games like Black Ops 1 and 2, you had games like Battlefield 3, you had Rainbow Six New Vegas, you had even smaller games like board games like Risk and Monopoly you can get on there, and they were worth the money you put into it. Now you get games that come out, there's so many problems wrong with it, they should have took an extra year to develop or should have went 3 extra months of testing, and then it hits and then everyone slaps the company. Like you said with EA. EA, I've noticed, is not the EA we had in the previous gens, and they took a major leap backwards. Same as Bethesda. You know, Bethesda, apparently, I've been reading all these articles about them putting this pay-to-win stuff up for revives or whatever it is in their game through an update. I haven't touched it. I can tell you right now, I touched it right after I got the Division 2, and that was to update it. EA, as you mentioned, Battlefront 2, I didn't buy it at first because you had these sweaty people spending hundreds of dollars buying these cards that gave your guy more health, more damage for abilities, more damage for weaponry, more health, more overshield, all this crap. We we have too many games like that, and honestly, that's going to cripple. That's royally going to cripple the next generation platforming games if it continues. We've hit the gigantic dark age of gaming. There's some perspective games that come out that are good, really great, above par, but then you have like this mass flood of games like this. I mean, probably one of the biggest ones I can think of was Battlefront 2 that I've played personally. And then, you know, you get games like Anthem. Anthem came out, you know, it was big hype for, 3 years now? Now everyone's saying it's trash. It's just, people look at these, they're like, oh, this company's making it, it's going to be awful. No, I've come across indie games. I've watched indie games on YouTube. I've watched games before I buy them on YouTube, and you know, I look through like Reddit comments and stuff, and there's so much belittling over little things, but then there's always the larger majority of, well, why is there so many microtransactions? Why is there like a $60 season pass for getting 2 DLCs? Or, you know, a baby DLC and then 2 regular sized DLCs, like Destiny. Destiny 1 and 2. Destiny 1, you had the Rise of Iron. Everybody hated that they did that to them. They're like, oh yeah, you'll get the season pass, you'll get all the DLCs. Rise of Iron comes out, off of another $30-$40. Same thing with Destiny 2. It's just, these AAA titles are not what they used to be, and they need to bring back the older ways of playing it. I'm fine with adding levels to your characters in a game. I'm fine with having to spend 12 hours grinding a tank out or a plane out or whatever, or spending 20 hours going, you know, from rank 1 in a weapon to rank 20 to put attachments on it. I'm fine with that. But when you start saying, well, now you got to pay $5 to get this gun, you got to pay $6 to get the 2 little baby skins that you can earn in game at like 1/100th of a percentage ratio for that, then yeah, I'm gonna have a problem with that.
Understandable.
I mean, I don't mind buying cosmetics. I think cosmetics are great in games. They make your games more interesting. But when you put like a $7 price tag or $6 price tag on one paint job for an armor set, and then go and find another armor set in the game, and then you got to pay $6 more for that one, it takes it away from me. But again, the pay to win perspective wall up, your game's officially dead to me. You are not worth. You're just not worth me playing. And I played Battlefront 2 after that whole like loot cache crap that went on with them. What was it, World War II? And I think there was another one that was out at the time that they had a problem with that. That's you know, governments and parents were looking at it as gambling because these kids are spending $1,000 on their mom and dad's credit card, and they're like, "Ching! I got everything in the game." Yeah, well now you spend $1,000. Have fun getting spanked by your parents.
Yeah, that's definitely
but on the
true.
other end, it's the producer's fault for putting this stuff in the game. Like, I just recently bought Rainbow Six Siege. I think it's a very nice game. It's sort of closer towards Battlefront 2, but very, very, very heavy on cosmetics. It's very expensive for cosmetics, and you know, you can pay money to get these boosters to give you more like in-game credits to get in this stuff, but the ratio of game after game and then trying to get through it, it's, you know, I'd rather put it towards operators of buying weapon skins, and then you go get a new operator and then you got to buy the same weapon skin again. You know, stuff like that turns me away from wanting to get cosmetics. I'd rather look like your basic default, like Fortnite. Oh my god, dude! Every season it's like what, $20 buy the new season pass unless you play Save the World and grind it out, or if you max out the previous season pass. That's fine. You know, you put $20 into the game, either way, you just earned unlimited battle passes if that's all you play. But then you look at skins, and it's, okay, 1,800 V-Bucks. How much are V-Bucks? 2,000 V-Bucks is $20. So I'm paying $1 per 100 V-Bucks, I can't buy specifically 1,800 V-Bucks. Now I have to spend the extra $2, if I even have the extra $2 in my wallet, to then buy this skin or this character or this glider, and it's like, no.
That's understandable.
Yeah.
Here's one thing that I take a look at it is as and I see that a lot of people tend to, like especially a lot of companies like EA do that, like with the microtransactions. I feel like that does screw us over in a major area. I think it's now like to a point where that in certain areas that it is pay to win, and it kind of sucks that it's like that. But there are like certain things, especially like gaming companies like EA tends to like hold like the companies on a chokehold. And after this after this statement, I'm gonna move to the next topic if you don't mind. I feel as if like if when it comes to a lot of microtransactions or anything like that, or any type of stuff like that, if a company wants to do microtransactions or if a company wants to stay out of it, that the developers, that the companies that are with the publishers should have a major say. I feel as if like that's something that like let's say for instance let's say Bungie, like how on some of the DLC for like let's say the Forsaken for Destiny 2, because I just bought the Forsaken because my brother wanted me to play Destiny 2 with him. Like it's $40. I would like, let's say if a developer was like, oh, you know what, that's too much, let's sell all of it for $15 and let's continue making more stuff. I would say, hey, that's reasonable compared to what it is. You know what I mean? Like I would say that if like a developer would have like more of a hand of the microtransactions, but in a sense where it's reasonable towards the gamer, and the gamer would be like, okay, no problem. We'll put the money in for the game. It's cool. You gave us a good price for it, and that's fine. Like for instance, like, hey, you guys want to go ahead and have more. You guys want to go ahead and do something cool. Like for instance, you don't want to keep leveling up your characters. Here, let's go ahead and give you the Forsaken. Let's give you let's say the Gambit and all that stuff for Destiny for $15 for each DLC instead of just paying the $40. That seems like more of a reasonable thing. So I feel like companies who make the game should have more of a say of that and should be willing to do that. To another point, some fans tend to not have a issue paying for that stuff, and we can't tell people what to do with their own money. That's their money. And at another point, it's like that's also cool support that people tend to do for other companies, and they tend to do the support for the companies because of the titles. Like at one point, like, I hate what EA does, but I won't stop supporting them because I like BioWare. I like companies like DICE because at one point they have made good games and they have great ideas, but I feel like as EA tends to cripple them. Like have you heard the issue with Anthem? That was a major issue. So with Anthem, like, you had a very, very weird release, had a very, very weird weird idea where the game was actually made already, but the problem is that it was made in an engine that does not work properly for the game, and yeah, it was made on the Frostbite engine, where the Frostbite engine is usually made for first-person shooters, and that screwed them up so badly where the game was not set up, and that also put that definitely put places like like companies like BioWare on the actual like the shitter, and that sucked.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like as if like for certain areas that the developers need to have more of a say. But
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
when you put it in that perspective, Nick, and I don't want to cut you off here, the only downside to that now, um, can't remember the name. It'll probably come to me after the video, like it does half the time. But when you're saying about the producers and stuff getting more involved with it, the problem is, we're not we're not looking at a lack of, in my opinion, we're not looking at a lack of producer support. I think we're looking more towards the companies are looking at what your net profit is. Can we make a sequel from what we got, or should we just bank it into a new game, or another series that we could get more off of and then come back like 5 years later? Where the PlayStation 1, we had a lot of good games come out, and let's not kid ourselves, it was not the easiest gaming platform, just as all of PlayStation 1's predecessors. PlayStation 2 came out, and they're recorded with the largest amount of games to play on the platform system. Now, you had games that were RTSs, RPGs, first-person shooters, third-person shooters, adventure, role-playing. The other thing that I think we need to look at is exactly how much these companies are banking into this, along with their long-term investors. Because I've noticed that, unfortunately, we have a lot of, okay, well, we didn't make enough money, so you guys don't like the game, we're not making a sequel. It's not that we didn't like the game, we just didn't like how you made it. And we've been trying to tell you this, and you've been ignoring us. And I understand it's hard when you have, let's say 6 million people blasting on you because, oh my god, you stuck pay to win in. I understand why you put pay to win in, but let's not kid ourselves. Pay to win, as I even said, is a turnoff. It's like it's like looking at a really beautiful piece of work, like artwork, and then looking at something the kindergarten kid 3 blocks down made on your refrigerator door. It's which one would you rather have there? Would you like the prestigious artwork or the kindergarten sloppy seconds?
That is definitely true in that area. It's just like I kind of get it in that area. It's just like it's really kind of weird about how certain people get certain things, especially when you put in the microtransactions. The weird part is that sometimes in certain areas it won't be considered because there are people that actually do like it, and it's like if we do listen to people that don't like it, then it's a major then they are listening to the group. But there is also a thing that where if people do like it, then it will be ignored. But in that perspective, I do understand because of the fact that a lot of companies tend to give a little bit less of the content for how much we're paying in a game, or even the fact that they're putting in microtransactions towards that game. So I do get that part. It's just like that's kind of also a side debatable because of the fact that there are some people that still put in money for that game and still like it. Yeah, so that's a major part about it. But let's move on to the next topic. I don't know if you actually know about this. You have played a share of RPG games, right?
Oh yeah.
So have you ever played anything of Persona 5 or any of the Persona games?
I can't say I have, no.
Okay, so Persona 5 is actually one hell of a good game. I'd recommend it for you. Especially if you do like RPGs, especially how the story went, it's really good, so I'd recommend it. But the point is that there is a brand new Royal Edition, where the Royal Edition includes 2 new characters and two new ways to actually interact with those characters. Where one, there is a story of a character to be added, plus another dungeon which is based off of another level, a character that both characters that you interact with that like help benefit your main character, and one that is playable. Now, work and the look of the character. Her name is Kasumi, and like she had like a leotard on, like like how wrestlers wear like a leotard, and there's like they're showing their legs and then the boots and everything. Um,
Yeah.
a lot of people started backlashing it. A lot of people started doing things like, oh, you know what, like it's like a sexist thing. It's it's just like a male thing, and they're trying to sexualize females and stuff like that. Now, what when I heard about it, it was ridiculous, and then it got me mad to a point because one of the people who tweeted it out actually took the artwork of the character and changed it up for their liking. Now, I am not one to I hate, like there are certain opinions that I hate about that. I hate when somebody takes like someone's artwork and then changes it up and screws with their artwork just because they want to go ahead and fix it. It's kind of ridiculous, in my opinion. Especially where there's nothing wrong with the actual character design. The character is supposed to be in design, I believe, in the design of a gymnastic where they wear leotards. So
Yeah.
like that's my thing about it, especially where they try to do that. What would you think about like that type of situation where somebody like has an issue with like a certain design of the character, and then they just go ahead and just like destroy the artist's work?
All right. Well, for starters, by the sounds of it, the person probably did that, as you even said, for their liking. Personally, I feel like if you either don't like it, report it, or ignore it. I've seen that there's been some sensory issues going on where I guess PlayStation's going for sensory of certain games and everything else like that. But what I'm starting to realize is like, okay, so over in like Japan and stuff like that, like a lot of like the skimpier stuff's popular.
Mm.
Where over here, yeah, it's popular to some people, and then to some other people, it's like, oh my god, what are they doing? That's inappropriate. I mean, personally, it doesn't bother me. I think there could be better decision making. But for as far as, let's say, people, taking other people's artwork and making like a mockery out of it, I can't really say I'm okay with that. But at the same time, again, it's kind of like a matter of opinion. Because there's really not much we're going to be able to do to stop that. You know what I mean? So, kind of, it's more of a gray area for me. It's more like a hit and miss.
Yeah, it's like let me put in another idea then, like because of the censorship and like people just like hate the design of it. You heard of the new MK11, so right? The Mortal Kombat 11.
Oh, yeah. There was a lot of stuff with that being like 6,000 some $100 to apparently get all the DLCs in the game and stuff, and it's like, okay, but you can earn them.
Yeah, but it's not. That's one of our topics. So let's not go too far on that. There was also another issue on that. People didn't like the idea that the design of the characters were more armored and less boobish. So, so when I heard something like that, I'm like, okay, I'm one for video game designs with like big boobs and everything. Like we kind of grew up on that. That was like Lara Croft, and then there was like Ivy from Soul Calibur. But it's like this is a different design that they're going with. It's like, can they just like go with that artistic look and just like let them choose who they want in the thing? I would prefer if they let the actual developer come up with some artistic look. the problem with the actual clothing design that I'm talking about with the Persona game is that they didn't like that the character was showing their legs. That was the issue. They didn't like the character showing their legs. And then they say,
Okay, hold on. So if I'm understanding this right, we have chicks in non-cleavage showing armor, but there's a problem with them showing their legs.
no, 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 no. I think I'm trying to get off a little bit. I think I'm trying to messing it up. The problem with Mortal Kombat is that they're not showing enough cleavage. But the problem with the Persona game is that people are upset at it because they're saying that the new character is showing too much legs. So she's wearing like the high black boots, and then she's showing her thighs and everything, and it's the leotard. Now, when I heard that, because I think I'll show you the I'll send you the post when I can, and I'll tag you in it so you could read it. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's like you know, the whole thing of like, oh, this is too sexy. Oh, it's catering to the male fantasy and all that type of stuff for the Persona 5 game. That's where I had an issue with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what do you think about something like that happens?
You know, I think the main problem stemming from mainly the idea of not having a more male attractive attire in like the female persona of the games. But let's flip this coin for a second. Let's just flip it for just a second. Do we hear a lot of girls complaining that guys' characters' junks ain't flashing around on their screen? Because I haven't heard anything like that. Now, to me, if it's the other way around, where there's no cleavage bouncing around on my screen, I'm completely fine with that. Matter of fact, a lot of the games I prefer to play are like there's nothing like that. Like the worst thing you see is like a pair of underwear or something. But it's again, it's going back more towards cosmetics, you know. Like Mortal Kombat 11, for an example, apparently they have all these cosmetics. You don't know. Maybe they'll have so many outfits that fit everybody's things. It's not going to be a big deal. But I mean, the initial outfits aren't always the most important. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like, okay, well, now we have 37 outfits for, let's say, Susan, and then Ken over here has 17. Because Ken's a dude, and most of his are just the same, like, 4 patterns, just 5 different colors, or 4 different colors, right? Susan's might be, alright, we got skimpy outfit A through D in 7 colors, and then 2 non-skimpy ones in, like, 2 colors. You know, I mean, I understand why there's a lot of, like, debate with that, but, again, it's player preference. You know, if you don't like the fact that legs are showing, buy a different cosmetic. If the top's too skimpy, don't buy that cosmetic. Try to find one that's not as skimpy. You know? I mean, if you really like skimpy ones, I'm pretty sure they probably got bikini sets in there somewhere. I mean, let's be honest, they're not very, I know the game franchise isn't the most PG-13 kind of realm for that, so it is what it is, you know.
That's a major point too. I kind of understand that. It's like it's just for me. I just don't like the idea of like just people just taking someone else's work just because you don't like the design. Like it's just like, oh, you know, like, oh, I'm just gonna draw over somebody's design. I'm like, I get you don't like the design, but somebody did that. I feel like that's kind of disrespectful. With me, it's like how do I say this? It's like it's like also I don't see the necessity of just complaining about like I said, the Persona 5. Like people didn't like like people complain like it was a misogynistic outfit that she's wearing, and there are many different alternative outfits where but sadly they are set with cosmetics pay, or you can actually go ahead and buy a special edition of the game. um my thing about it is that when like somebody just puts like an artistic look of something, then I would say that like it has nothing to do with being misogynistic or anything or a feminist thing. I just it's the design that the person wants to go with, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but speaking of something that is a major thing because we were talking about EA, because it's the new topic. The new Star Wars game. So it's now a story-driven Star Wars game, and there is no microtransactions. It's just story, no multiplayer. So we're talking about possibly another type of I would say like something like the Force Unleashed, or something like a story-driven thing like the Force Unleashed, and then something with new gameplay. So.
You're talking about that new one that they just dropped the ball on, right?
Mhm.
All right. So yeah, you know what? Perfect point as to what we said earlier about these companies not listening to people, right?
Mhm.
Everyone got sick of the crap they did with the Battlefront games. Now they're turning back around. They're giving us something that we can sink our teeth into if it's made right. It's I think for this game it's going to be a matter of attrition and waiting to see if they're going to stick to their guns with the no microtransaction. It's going to be story driven. There's not going to be invading people coming in playing as like Darth Vader, like kicking your butt mid mission. If it's straight single player, I have no problem getting that game and just playing it for like half a month on end.
Oh,
Whatever.
Here's the rumor about it though. This is very interesting. This is the rumor about it. I'm not 100% sure about this. That it's a Souls game. It's a Jedi themed Souls game.
No.
So why? I'm not a big fan of them. The Souls games. I'm not a big fan of those Souls games. I'm not. That's why I say that's the rumor of it. I'm not 100% confirmed about that. If we have to read into it a little bit more. But that's a major thing about why people would like that game, because it's actually a Souls game. How the Souls went ahead and grabbed the attention. I don't mind it if they do it correctly. If they do it really well, then that's fine. My thing about it is that I just want to know how they're gonna play it off. I feel as if if it's gonna be somewhat of a Souls game, that I think they need to go that route because of how bad it was looking for them in the multiplayer aspect. I feel as if they're gonna do that with this story driven game or something on where you have to level up your Jedi, get better things with your Jedi and everything, then I feel as if, hey, you know what? Let them go for the Souls type idea, Let them go for that idea because of the fact that it's one that that's a series like everybody enjoys, especially people who do play Dark Souls. So one, that's a major audience that they're attracting, and two, of the fact that it's challenging. But my fear about it is that people are gonna bitch and complain like they did with Sekiro. You ever heard you heard about what happened with Sekiro? They complained that especially I believe it was Kotaku was like, that the creators of Sekiro need to be more kind to their players and add an easy mode. That's the type of shit that I'm afraid of. Yeah. But what do you think?
Well, let's see. We have a Star Wars game that's going down the Dark Souls path.
Mm-hmm.
My initial comments to that would be honest, that sounds like hell to play. Like, I've played, what was it, Dark Souls 3? And, dude, I could not imagine playing a game like that in the Star Wars universe. Especially if they're going to be bringing in stuff from, like, the old expanded universe. My God. I think maybe, just maybe, it could work. I'm honestly, if it's like Dark Souls, I don't know. I'd have to sit back and wait, dude, to even look and see what it's gonna like, how the play style is.
But here is better news. If I may cut you off, here is better news that they actually confirmed. They confirmed that when it comes to like anything of this game, that EA, the publisher, will not have a say. They will not have any say on the game's creation, no say of the game's money making, and no say of anything of the games. That it's going to be directly about the actual developer. So that's what I'm also excited about, is that the fact that now EA can't fuck up this game. Now, when they're not gonna touch it, when they're not gonna do anything about it, like I'm also just like, hey, you know what? We're gonna get something possibly really nice here. We're possibly gonna get something that everybody's gonna enjoy. So that's what I'm waiting for. You know what I mean? So, go ahead.
One quick thing with that, even if they make it a like Dark Souls kind of game, like where let's say you die and then you lose like whatever experience points you got to level up to the next part, I would be okay with that only if it is like KOTOR 1 and 2's game style, with that RPG mechanic. You got like a team of 3 or 4 people battling like 8 people. I would be okay with that. If not, it would not be a game for me, dude.
I think what it is, I think it's just going straight for like the Dark Souls style. I think it's gonna be just like the regular single Dark Souls style. I'm not sure on what they're gonna do with things like weaponry. I don't know what they're gonna do with anything of that, but as I said, I believe if they go that route, it's good, but it's kind of hard because like the Soul series is was sort of multiplayer, especially with PvP. So it's kind of probably gonna be hard to say that they're not maybe they're not gonna do that. But as I said, that was a rumor. But as I said, what I am more excited about is the fact that hey, we are not gonna see EA mess this game up, and that's what I'm so happy about. But I feel like it is gonna do that. I feel like it is gonna be a major thing, but because I feel like somehow EA knows how to freaking worm their way into certain things that doesn't that should involve them. But you want to say something else?
I was gonna say it's EA. They always find a way.
Yeah, that's what I'm 100% also afraid about. It's like, oh, you know what? We're gonna try to worm our way into this, and I just want to go ahead. I just want to hear something like from a company. It's like, hey, you know what? Now, because of this, we're gonna be leaving the company. That's what I want to hear. But the problem is things like companies like BioWare and DICE are not that big enough to do so. I would say if they can leave the company, I would say they go to a bigger name. I would say anything of how do I say I would say anything of of BioWare. I would say possibly going to Enix. Because like we do get like really good games out of Square Enix. Like I would say the Deus Ex series was pretty good. Um, Especially with things like interaction with characters going a certain path. I would say that it was pretty good. Or possibly like anything of like I would say like 2K. Like if you're gonna do development or if anything a multiplayer like Epic Games. Something where it's yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it kind of like cut out for a second.
Yeah, oh, sorry about that. Like, I'd rather have the companies like BioWare, like all the other ones like that work with EA, to not be with EA, possibly with any other company. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I feel that on a relatable level.
yeah, like as I said, I don't like a lot of games from some of the Soul series. I like 2K. I think 2K should be like grabbing some series from the BioWare area. Maybe Anthem could have gone with 2K. Especially with like things like customization, like level design, especially with Borderlands coming out, and how I love Borderlands. I'm a big thing of Borderlands, but yeah, that's just where I'm at on that. Okay, but so I'm gonna touch this last topic, and then you brought it up. Um, we were talking about the censorship and the microtransactions.
Yeah.
So as you know that they came out with the supposed price of the microtransactions of, hey, you know what, this is how much you would have to pay to get different types of cosmetics in the game and everything. And now here's the problem. Ed Boon, who is the producer and director of the whole NetherRealms company, literally the guy who's been working on the past Mortal Kombat games and everything, went ahead and stated that all of that was a blatant lie, was a major lie. And with that, it seems that people want to go ahead and possibly just hit on the name of Mortal Kombat, which I don't understand why. Um, Especially if it was true, like most of the cosmetics and most of everything is earned through game, and it feels like people just don't want to grind through it. At least it's not like, oh, you need to actually buy this to win. They're actually letting you earn it in gameplay. Like certain things in Overwatch. Like you can buy the loot boxes, but you can also earn loot boxes in gameplay. Um, what? First of all, I want to hear your opinion on this first. So.
Um, I mean, we kind of are in that part of, this is another part of the bad view of the gaming industry. You have a lot of people that will intentionally go out, try to slander a good company's name, and kind of be like, oh, yeah, I didn't really believe too much that a game would have $6,000 worth of cosmetics, just because of the fact that one, unless you're charging like $30 per item, you really don't have any reason to, how do I put this? You don't really have any reason to profit off of something like that, Whoever did start that, though, they are definitely a bunch of clowns, for the better term of it.
Now, I don't know what it is. It's just it is straight cosmetics. The game does not benefit of many different level ups how it was for Injustice. It doesn't do that. It's just the cosmetic looks. Especially with different colors, different masks, different parts of armor, and that's where I kind of also touched the idea of when people complain about less skin, where they added a lot more armor designs instead. So I would say that they added less skin showing and more armor onto the bodies to at least choose the variations of what you want to design the character as.
Yeah.
I think it's really good of what they did with that. with the microtransactions, I really don't see that it was that bad. Especially where a lot of companies have done worse. I think the I believe the Dead or Alive series did worse on that. Um, with that, it is earnable in the game. So I also kind of see like, hey, it's not that big of a deal if it's earnable. But I kind of see like, where like the fighting games actually start doing that. Like, you need certain skins with that, or you need certain like to pay a certain amount of money for that stuff. And that's something that I would wish they would stay away a lot more of. Like, they could just like, just make the game and just see how it goes with the sales. Because even though it's still gonna make the sales, because it's a Mortal Kombat game.
Yeah.
But overall, the game did get a 9 out of 10, which is pretty good. But I would say that like in certain areas, especially with that, the amount that you have to pay for that is pretty high. That's pretty high. My thing about it is that I sort of like I kind of find it weird that people start complaining about like the price of it, but will say, I'm not putting a dime into it. I'm like, okay, that's your choice. You don't have to put a dime into it. So, but why are you complaining about it if you can actually earn the stuff in game? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
So,
here, let me ask you this, okay? Would, instead of spending, let's say it would cost you, let's say $300, right? Just throwing a random number, $300 out to get every cosmetic in Mortal Kombat 11, right? Would you prefer to see games more towards like that for Honor, like games where you are going to see a lot of your character on screen? Would you prefer to, let's say, pay $20 and you can like Warframe, where you pay like $5, you get a color palette, and then you can change your armor like that? Would you prefer to do something like that and then like buy for like $2 or $3 like a camouflage or pattern set for, let's say, the female characters or the male characters, or both of them, or or even $10 to unlock one or two patterns? Like, do you think that would be more of an effective way to personalize? Well, not only personalize, but actually save money for the company instead of having to pay all these people to design them. You think that'd be an easier way for companies to like put personality behind the player's character?
no, that's kind of a difficult thing to say, because it's like, even if it goes that way, it also is somewhat of a limitation. Like for instance, like how like I would say, hey, you know what, Destiny, I feel like needs a color palette. I feel like Destiny would do better with a color palette. At one point, in certain point, even if they put a color palette, they're also limiting certain areas. I would say that like if it comes to a point of like we're paying like a certain amount of like like of a palette and then customizing left and right, I'd be like that would be an actual better choice. I don't say it would be bad to actually pay the devs to work on the stuff like that, because of the fact that each dev will also have a like artistic side that they can actually reach out. Sometimes the company doesn't breach out their own designs, and then with that, it actually helps the platform of those artists to get jobs. um I would say that when it comes to giving like a fair amount to the player, I would say I wouldn't mind it. I think it would be a good idea. um Personally, I also don't mind giving in a couple of extra bucks for a person's design, because even through some areas of like, let's say, customizing a piece of armor or even a weapon or anything like that, they don't even get paid a certain amount enough to to make a living. So like, in order for like I would say like to get what we want, or to put a major part in the gaming area, we have to also support the developer. You know what I mean? It's like if the developer could give them free stuff and just like apply to that, some developers would be willing to do that. The issue is, it's it's what they have to do to be able to make a living. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying like I'm not saying cut the developer out of it, but like, let's say, I mean, I guess the easier way is like allow, let's say you have God, how would I even put this? All right, so like let's say you have a female ninja, right? And she's in like a black and gray woodland like camouflage, right? Now, if you don't obviously like the color scheme, instead of having the dev make the same thing over and over again, right? Why not just have it where you can just simply change the color for that, for that outfit, and then like you can actually add. This would give you more time to develop new skins and character designs. Like, as an example, Fortnite, I swear to God, there's like always a brand new outfit. Like every week, there's like a brand new like $20 character. They could do something like that where like now you could spend a week making, let's say Ken's military camouflage outfit, right? Design them in like 2 different outfits, and then you put it up in the game store, right? Well, now if somebody wants to buy that, they could just buy it. Dev spent like whatever amount of time he had to do it, and then let's say at the same time now they're working on the female version of this guy, in a similar outfit. Now you get that cosmetic. Now you can just change the color palette to like something simple like red, blue, orange, yellow, white, black, gray.
Okay, so you're talking about like just buying the armor pieces and keeping the palette as soon as you have the one purchase of the palette. I would say I wouldn't mind that. I would say that as I said, they did it well for Warframe. I would say like people could take that part from Warframe and actually see that. The I guess it just comes to a point of where like what they have for their ideas. Because like for Warframe, they do have an extensive amount of people to come up with good ideas. That's what I could say. I would say it's not a bad idea. I would say that would be a really good idea. But at one point, it's based on how much they also put it as, like put like the items as, like oh, you know what, this is gonna be like the color palette will probably be like $20-$30, and then you get like 150 more colors. I think people will also have an issue with like with like stuff like that, even the color palette being sold. So I think either way it's lose. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you don't even have to sell like a basic like color palette. You can just put like, okay, let's say again for an example, I'm gonna go back to Rainbow Six Siege where they have a ton cosmetic stuff in that store. You can either pay real money or pay with in-game money if you really want to grind it out. Why not have it where like if the game, like for an example like that, or Fortnite where you get V-Bucks, put the color palette up for like $5 worth of in-game money that you can earn. Because a lot of these games are coming out with like these bounties or daily rewards where you get 20 points or 50 points or 100 chips, 80 coins, whatever. You figure in like a week or two you can earn that $5 worth of in-game currency. Just buy the color palette.
That is true. What I feel as if instead of just charging it of stuff like that, I feel like I think that when you want to buy, I feel like that should be a choice, a lot more of a choice to do so, not just a need to do so. So I'll give an idea. let's say you know how Overwatch does it, and then you have the special events, and you have people setting up for like those special events and everything. And then with that, you can get like the cosmetics and everything, like stuff like that. I feel as if like they should be doing the same thing with like something cool, like hey, you know what, now you can get these special events and you get double this amount, or double this amount of coins, or double this amount of game currency to be able to buy that like every weekend, like you know, like the double XP weekends and stuff like that. Sort of like what Call of Duty does, but now like give like, you know, things that make your character stronger, you know, like just straight cosmetic. um
Yeah.
I feel as if, because I always wanted to do this idea. I think this would have been a good idea because a lot of people are doing mobile right now. I feel as if like if they're doing something like, for instance, to have like mobile, like because a lot of people want to go ahead and go into that mobile area, let it benefit from your games connected to that mobile area. So like for instance, they have MK Mobile right now. Um, so they're doing MK Mobile. They have stuff like that. While doing missions on MK Mobile, let it link to your PlayStation account, Xbox account, PC account, and then you gain currency for that game or your mobile game. You know, back and forth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So one that benefits from, you know, the mobile area, where everybody will love to be part of the mobile area and show a lot more mobile developer love, and you know it benefits from other people in the other game, like for instance, like if like Destiny 2 had a matching game, right? Like
Yeah.
this, just like a straight matching game. We're matching the symbols of the Guardian, the Warlock, the Hunter all together. Um, like have them benefit where it's like, hey, you know what? Once you're doing this game, you get a certain amount of you get a certain amount of like let's say silver. You get a certain amount of you get a certain amount of glimmer. You get a certain amount of this and that. You know what I mean? Like something that benefits the whole entire like the games back and forth. I think that's what they can do instead of just like making the money off of it. But at one point they still want to make money off of it, because the more money you put in, the more of how they could pay the developers to do better jobs. But that's also a gamble. Uh, I would say like also just try to make it a decent price, a very good price. I would say for like a color palette, if I would do like a color palette, let's say like a row of like 5 rows of 20 different colors. I would say like I would say a good amount would be in between like, you know, 4.99 or 9.99 for those. You know, just something that like where like it just benefits the most on both parties. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would say like let's say if I did it this way. Um, let's say I made my own fighting game. It's based off of Transformers, right?
Okay.
I think that'd be pretty cool. Now, let's say if I go ahead, I have Optimus Prime, I have Starscream, I have all the classics, Hot Shot, you know, Megatron, all those cool guys. You know, I don't like the color of Optimus Prime. Let me customize my own Optimus Prime. Okay,
Let's make him pink and purple.
screw it. Let's make Optimus Prime gray and red, or gray and yellow. All right, let's do
Yeah.
something like that. Okay, here's what you guys can do. You guys want a color palette? You guys want an editing set? All right, cool. Here's a color palette. You know, a 4.99 color palette. Boom, right there. Pretty good fair price, would you say? 4.99 for a color palette, and the color palette includes 3 rows of 30 colors. Good combination there. One, people are like, oh, yo, we're getting more than what we're paying for. We're getting a certain amount that more than what we're paying, and it's $5. Hell, boom, right there. Um, and let's say we have that color palette for now on. Hey, it's a permanent color palette. Um, we do something like that. Then we have special things like, oh, you know what? Now, with the color palette, we have a good price. Let's say the armor pieces like Mortal Kombat. Hey guys, you guys want armor pieces? All right, cool. We'll give you armor pieces. This armor set's $10. You see, I would go for a thing that is one very fair to the actual consumer to buy, and one that is absolutely permanent. And then hence, like, let's say, oh, you know what? We're coming out with a special edition of the game. It's gonna be $60 again. Hence, we're giving you all these colors. We're giving you all this stuff together. Hence, they're getting us the $60 game again, and they're getting all the DLC for free. You know, that's something that, you know, is kind of fair, and that's why I see like something's like, you know, kind of a fair thing. You know, especially with the prices. Or if not, hey, you know where I'm going at, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, like something that is fair to both people, fair to the actual devs, to a point where it's, hey, you know what, we already made this amount of money, people already bought the game, and now people buying the special edition. Hey, let's throw in something cool for free. Boom, they have the Optimus Prime Transformers animals, like, you know, where Optimus Prime was an ape, and when like, let's go ahead and set that up. You know, Optimus Prime is now an ape, you know, stuff like that. And then you can go ahead and have Optimus Prime with like different skins from all different types of stuff, and they say, like, you know what, since you guys supported us, boom, that skin is free. You know, something like that that benefits. And then even like with that, hey, we got a mobile game, you know, a mobile game, free mobile game. Here, you can earn in-game currency for the game on the PlayStation, and then you can earn it for, like, you know, the mobile game there, stuff like that. Like, I feel like that's what a company should lead to. One, if it benefits like the actual developer from earning money, and for the consumer to get more than what they're looking for. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, the main, again, you know, like, the main thing is, it's all about trying to bring balance back to consumer and producer. I do have some good points with that, though. And yeah, you know, I feel like you should, if we are going to have stuff where you get new skins, you can do color palettes, you can do whatever you want with your character, I kind of feel like, for an example, we're obviously on the PlayStation platform, but back in the Xbox 360 days, which is what I ran, Halo Reach had like the largest customization out of all the Halo games. And they had so much stuff in there, and you didn't see them going around and be like, hey, pay $20 for this, hey, pay $15 for this, hey, pay $5 just, you know, because we want you to pay $5 to get this helmet or chest piece. What's stopping us from bringing that back? What is honestly stopping us besides the $60 price tag? Now, you know, there's been stuff online how PlayStation 5 might be digital only, you know, the new Xbox might be digital only, and I could care less if it is or isn't. My main thing is, if we're going to do all digital, how much of that money is the company getting? So then we know how bad we're going to have to pay for an armor set, for a color set, for a character. How much are we going to get out of paying that $60 to Sony, Microsoft, or Nintendo for that game? Are we going to get 100 hours of gameplay that's not just one small, ungodly level grind? Are we going to be able to expect cheaper customization options? Are we going to get better DLC quality because now the company, instead of like getting $40, is getting $50, or instead of $30 is making $40 or whatever, you know, or $10 off a $20 game? How much are we going to actually put into this company's pocket to keep making stuff?
Yeah, and
I think that's kind of like the answer to the question is, like, you know, we might see 6 million copies of a game sold, but how much is that company getting back, and what did they put out? I mean, it's not like there's stuff I've been looking on YouTube. There's people estimating that the new Halo game might be $500 million. Dude, if that's true, that's like the largest budgeted game ever. Like, there's no other game out there that had that kind of budget. But now, what are we going to see in terms of sale price, microtransactioning, customization, multiplayer functioning, story-driven? Like, how far is this story going to go in terms of gameplay? We don't know that because these companies sit behind this door and are like, we ain't telling you anything. No, don't worry about it. You don't need to know. It's ridiculous. Just tell us.
The thing is, it's kind of hard to do that because of the fact that it's like we're not supposed to be telling, like, people are not supposed to be telling you that, because it's like telling you the whole thing of Endgame. We can't, they can't tell somebody. They have to drive that actual, hey, you know what, we need to drive that type of hype. It's the idea of hype. Just like for a movie, like, you have to draw for the hype. I understand, like, the waiting can tend to be like, oh, you know what, dude, yeah, we're waiting a whole lot. We just know?
It's not even the waiting though, Nick. Like, okay, for an example, let's say the first game in whatever series is 16 hours for campaign, multiplayer functions fantastic, right? Now we're going to the sequel. Now your sequel's going to have 10 hours or 20 hours, and the multiplayer is going to suck. Or the multiplayer is going to be better, and the campaign, is just going to be garbage. If instead of, like, for Anthem, for the love of God, we got, like, nothing but gameplay clips, right? Little bits and pieces here. If they were to say, all right, you want to know? Fine, we'll tell you. You got at least 15 hours gameplay to get to level 30 averaging between our team. It may take you 18 to 20 hours, whatever. Multiplayer, don't expect too much against it. Like versus, it's more cooperative. If you go with that, you can get more feedback so you could tweak the game. So, for an example, let's say someone's like, well, I feel like 20 hours is too much. So then they could go back and say, okay, well, instead of 20 hours, we're going to up the original XP in the game by 10%. Now it might take you 18 hours. If there's like 1 million people, like, I don't want to spend 20 hours playing this one game to get to level 15, like Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Dude, honest to God, if I would have known it was like that, I wouldn't even bought the game. I would have got Origins. If we don't know that till the game comes out, and then it's like, now we gotta sit back, and the first week you got like 1 million people buying it, where there might be 200,000 people not buying it, like, ratio wise, and it's like, because we didn't know what we were expecting. You just missed out on 200,000 because you didn't give us details. Now we gotta sit back and wait for these streamers and YouTubers to upload their videos and gameplay and see what graphics is, and see how long it's going to take for them to beat these games. It's just, to me, man, I'm more of, I wouldn't say I'm more towards how long it takes me to play the game. It's more on how is this story going to pan out with your game. Odyssey, you're spending more time on side missions than your main missions. Right?
Okay, yeah.
And I'm playing Romance of the Three Kingdoms 13 right now, right? This game is literally just cut and dry Dynasty Warriors 8 Empires, just without the on-field combat. So it takes a lot longer. Like, you have to, instead of doing an empire, you build city by city.
So is your fear about the content that's coming out? Like, are we getting good content?
Yeah, because we don't know anything. Like, they could say, okay, well, here's the demo. It's your first mission in the game. Okay, now you're going to hype this up to us. Expect us to pay $60 for standard, $80 for some deluxe edition, and $100 to $120 for this, like insane grab-and-go kind of crap. And then it's going to come out, we play the first 5 missions, and by the 6th mission, your whole squad's dead. Now you're playing the whole rest of the game soloed. Or now you're expecting to play a solo game, and now you're playing it with other people because you can't get past said 5th or 6th mission because the game's impossible to grind through. Dark Souls, amazing game. cannot play it solo. It's too aggravating. I would smash my 55-inch TV instantly.
I think, and honestly, I think that's like a gamble, cause it's like, as I said, like
It is.
it's like we can. It's not just that the idea of like, oh, if our people are gonna like the content, is just that it's also the fact of, you know, that like if they give out the info and then people do like it, like for instance, like how do I say this? Because like you're just afraid, like it was afraid of like hey, am I getting enough like of what I paid for? That's just a gamble, like
Exactly.
in sense it's like, because that's kind of weird, like because how do I say this? Because I don't want to sound weird saying this, like I would say that it's not. It's just a mix. It's a mix on what the gamer thinks. It's what the gamer feels as if they think is what they're getting enough is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like for instance, like I feel as if when I paid $60 for Anthem, I felt as if I got enough from Anthem. Other people would not. People would not agree. Or like for instance, like you play let's say the brand new Doom, right? You feel as if, I don't feel like that this is worth like $60. I feel like I should have gotten more for the $60. I'll be like, I feel like this is worth $60. I feel like this. I think I've gotten enough of this. They gave what they were showing and everything, or like I feel like I've gotten more than what I expected. It's just, it's the idea that, hey, it's based on what the gamer thinks. It's just mixed. It's mixed views on it. Like for instance, like with Kingdom Hearts, right? Kingdom Hearts 3.
Okay.
Kingdom Hearts 3. A lot of people felt as if the game was short. A lot of people felt like they didn't give as much as they did, especially for the 15-year wait. I kind of agree with that. I feel as it did not live up to the hype as it did. I think it's a great game. Do I feel like it was worth the $60? I do feel it's worth the $60. Other people don't would say, oh, it was worth less. So I think based on like, if you're getting enough, is based on literally opinion from the actual people who pay it. Because as I said, I could be saying, hey, I'm getting enough through this game, but the other person can say, oh, I'm not getting enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I think whether they put out enough, that's just a gamble on them, and then it's like literally a gamble on us, because there's mixed ideals of what people think they spend enough on. You know?
Um, did you ever happen to play a game called Vandal Hearts back on the original PlayStation?
I've heard of Vandal Hearts. I have not played it.
Okay. Well, for starters, you, sir, need to get the game and a PlayStation 1. I don't even care if you gotta, like, whenever you get your PC, do it on an emulator, whatever. Play the game. Alright? Play the first one. Really focus in the beating the game, because I'm not gonna lie, it is actually kind of challenging. Like your first run through. And then go and play something like, what's a good turn-based strategy game on PlayStation?
Was Vandal Hearts like a Fire Emblem type game?
Sort of.
So it was like strategy.
Sort of, yeah.
So I've heard of it. Yeah, I've never played it. But yeah. But continue.
All right. So you look at something like that for Vandal Hearts, which PlayStation 1 graphics is really it's really awful compared to today's graphics. We can't lie about that.
Yeah.
But you get something like that, and then you look at something with all these new fancy graphics and crap, right? Like right now, I'm looking at a big wall and a little Chinese city, and it's not impressive to me because you're not watching it grow. Like you watch your characters in Vandal Hearts grow, you watch these villages burn and pixelated crap, and it's like, why did this game have what feels like more to do? Like in terms of like playing original playthrough. You
Mhm.
know, you have games from the original two consoles for PlayStation with uh such kind of like spunk to them, and then you look at these newer ones, they're like, these are just cut and dry knockoffs of everything else we played. Or people that want to say these are original, you could compare it to like 8 different games you played back in the previous gen consoles, right?
Yeah.
Originality is not the problem. It's, can you now make this kind of scenery work for your game?
Mhm.
Can you give us something where it's going to be interesting? To be honest with you, dude, the only thing I would ever ask of the company for these newer consoles, only thing that I want more than anything in the world is a game like Command and Conquer, or a game that's so similar to Vandal Hearts it's not even funny.
Mhm.
Never gonna get them. You know why? Command and Conquer is now pretty much a dead franchise. EA kind of like upped and ruined it.
Mhm.
Um, and we're not gonna get anything like Vandal Hearts because the last Vandal Hearts game was back on the 360 and it did so bad in sales. I think I would have an easier time believing an article saying Command and Conquer's coming back before Vandal Hearts.
Yeah.
Like they just picked the franchise up by
Mhm.
the buttocks and just dropped it in the molten lava. They just incinerated the whole franchise.
I get that. I think it's because certain genres are now not as exciting as they used to be. Like for instance, I loved beat 'em up games. I love things like Streets of Rage, like Double Dragon, stuff like that. And like going to an arcade and like you've played like the X-Men game, and you played like the Turtles in Time game. I, I feel as if like those are great games, but those are part of a genre that is dying. Um, like for instance, right now, Streets of Rage 4 is coming out, and it's a beat 'em up game. I don't know if it's gonna be making that much, but like like games like Command and Conquer like are a major big thing, especially like I would say that those type of games should come back. I think like people should explore more of the genres that have died, for instance, I don't feel as if like you remember like the old game, like the old company THQ. Now it's THQ Nordic.
Kind of.
Like I'll give you an example. Have you played any like games that are themed over a movie, like like a Disney movie or like a Nintendo or a Nickelodeon show?
Oof.
Because I remember back then the first Rugrats for the PlayStation was my shit. That was my shit.
Yeah, dude. Listen, Rugrats and South Park back on the PlayStation 1 were like the best games ever.
Oh, no, dude. The Emperor's New Groove, Bugs Life, like all those games are really good.
Bugs Life, dude.
Dude,
My God, we are talking like I'm starting to feel like I'm turning gray here, dude. Like,
dude, I'm talking about like those type of games. Like remember the for the Xbox and PlayStation, it was the Fairly Odd Parents video games and stuff like that.
yeah.
I feel like as if like they should go back to something like that and like try to put some effort into them because those games actually were really good. I would say like anything of like I would say like putting things that were on PC like like Command and Conquer, like StarCraft and stuff like that should be on console as well, or there should be many other games that have done it. Like like Halo Wars was a major thing that was pretty good. I would say that a lot of those games like like those type of like Fire Emblem ish type games. I would say that they are not bad. I just feel as if how do I say this? I feel as if they I feel as if they need more of a, how do I say this? Wow. Um, I feel as if they need more of a fact of like just adding in a lot more like based games that are of, you know, dying breed. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah. So listen, how you're like when you're saying dying breed, we're obviously talking about franchises like Command and Conquer, Vandal Hearts, Fire Emblem, uh, you know, and the main thing is it's not that they're that much of a dying breed. Because for an example, you have Valkyria Chronicles, remastered on here, which was on previous gens. I actually played the Chronicles game. It was actually a very fun game. My buddy Matt recommends that Dragon Quest Heroes. I played the Sword Art Online, one of the games for that. It's not that those kind of games are dead. They're not advertised like Call of Duty, Battlefield, Star Wars games from EA, Anthem. You don't hear the giant hype because instead of advertising these games, right? They'll go to like GameStop's magazine, that Game Informer will be like, "Yeah, listen, if you don't want to put it in, whatever, we don't care. It'll just go up on the store and we'll wait to see who buys it." Or we'll advertise it on the online store for like 20% off, or when they have a major sale, and then they'll be like, "Yo, now there's a community built around it." Or you go to GameStop, you're like, "Wow, holy crap, there's like 300 games on this shelf I'd never heard about," right? And there are these games, they don't advertise them. But
that's
when it comes
go ahead.
when it comes to turn-based strategy games like what you and me are used to sinking our teeth into, and what even longer playing gamers, like, they gave an update for Warcraft 3. I think I was like 6 when that came out or something like that. I was only like 6 or 7. And I got the game half off at GameStop, and to this day, I still wish I had it on my computer because it was a good game. Same thing for Command and Conquer. But when you get to a certain point with these companies and they change their routes, you now no longer have these games running in your stores. No longer have more of these games being produced. Now, I think what really irritated me is I started playing Diablo on Diablo 3. Okay? If I want to continue playing on the PlayStation and I want a Diablo game, I'm going to have to buy a cell phone just to play a new Diablo, or to play Diablo 3, should PlayStation 5 not have playback compatibility, and I trade in my PlayStation, which, let's be honest, that's not going to happen. But, like, I'm looking in the store right now, I don't even see Diablo 1 or 2 for playback. I don't know if it's just not showing up in my search, or if they just don't have it. But now I'm in PlayStation 4, and I want to play these games from previous game. To get into this series, I can't do that because I'm firewalled with it. I cannot get to these games. I have to go buy a PlayStation 3, buy the game with probably half of full value just to play the things, where I should be able to pay like $10, play a PlayStation 1 game, any previous console games, and half that money goes to the thing, to the company, be like, "Wow, we sold $1 million with Command & Conquer Red Alert 3 on the console," right? Or we sold $3 million. Wow, they must really want this back. Or we sold $1 million for Vandal Hearts and Vandal Hearts 2. We don't have that. If I want a copy of those games, I gotta go downstairs, get on my PC. And the last time I looked, mint condition Vandal Hearts 2 game was like $200. I don't know what it's running right now. I'm not even gonna bother looking it up because I don't want to have a heart attack.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
For a PlayStation 1 game.
Yeah,
I can't. Because if they had playback compatibility, we'd have all these older franchises coming back in, dude, and we don't. We don't have it.
It's not just the idea of playback compatibility. When it comes to like the idea of like you know, if they're gonna be like, you know, like showing a lot of like, you know, I'd say marketing for the games that's based on the actual company. Like for instance, uh Blizzard did major marketing on Overwatch. That's why it went ahead and beat Battleborn in that area. And Battleborn was not a bad game. Um, I guess it's just based on what the company does it. I understand, you know, where it comes to a point they're like, you know, you want also like a game that like, hey, you know what, I could buy it on the PlayStation 4 and be able to do things like, hey, you know, I'm playing it on the PS4 and then streaming on the PS4, stuff like that. Like, so backwards compatibility. The fifth PlayStation 5, well, the PlayStation 5, excuse me, is supposed to have that. I have no problem with it. I personally don't. I wouldn't want to go ahead and like, you know, take away the idea of you know, be able to play PlayStation 3 games or anything of that on the system. Um, One major downfall about that, it does take a price down based on like, you know, major things like, you know, if people who are collectors, um, and like, you know, for instance, let's say Nintendo like literally came out with Mega Man X3, right?
Okay.
And they have it digitally download, which they have done. Um, the game itself, like let's say for instance, you want to buy it, it's $5 to $10. I'll say $5 to $10 at most. Now, I have the game in the hard copy, which is, you know, the cartridge. The thing is, with that, in certain areas, it ends up lowering the price, or if you're lucky, it might higher the price. You know what I mean? If you're a collectible, if you're a collector, you want to go ahead and like, you know, add it towards your collection. You know, you get my point.
Yeah.
Like right now, a hard copy, clean everything, you know, in the box of Mega Man X3 is around $300-$400. And, you know, with the actual company, and the company's like, you know, doing things like, hey, you know what, we're gonna make all the remasters and everything. It would literally get to a point where it's gonna be like, hey, you know what? Now the actual hard copies don't cost as much, and they'll lower the prices in that. It doesn't benefit the company because they don't make money off the hard copies, though.
But let's put this down to one thing: accessibility, being able to play these games on your console. If now here's the thing: why would I want to pay a collector $300-$400 for a never opened game that does not work on my game console? If I want to play it, I fully understand, you know, the whole ratio of it's going to drop the physical value or it might increase it. Here's the thing. If you have a digital... listen, dude, I don't even care if I got to pay $60 for Vandal Hearts again. I will pay $60 goddamn dollars on this PlayStation Store to play the game. It was one of my all-time favorite PlayStation 1 games. And out of PlayStation 1 and 2, it's literally within my top 5 games. Okay? I would pay $60, just straight $60 for that game, or $80 for 1 and 2, because I never played 2, so I don't know if I like it. But I'm not going to pay some guy online $300 to ship me a game that I'm not guaranteed I can play.
Of course,
because if I open that, now the game's only worth $50 instead of $300. And I can tell you, there's no PlayStation 1 game out there that's worth $250 loss because Sony doesn't, or Microsoft doesn't want to put these up on the Play Store.
Mm-hmm.
And those games, they're not going to take you 100 hours to beat. It's not going to take you 40 hours. You can run through that game in like 10 hours. There's actually, now this is how sad this is. There's one major level cheat in the entire game that literally, if you miss it, you're stuck grinding the game. You can get all your characters maxed out except for your leader, right? By just casting defense and attack booster spells on your party, getting XP, and then having them heal these mages and sorcerers with herbs. They get that much X amount of XP, gets them up to their level, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's how old the game is. It doesn't even have a cheat code engine in it. I would love to play a game like that. We don't have those games. Now you got kids getting cheats for Grand Theft Auto, and you had that thermal issue with Fortnite. And no, I want to play the old classic games, and I can't. I have 2 PlayStation 1s at work. 2 of them. One eye's just a little damaged on the one. Whatever. But for me to play these games, I gotta go downstairs, get on a computer, and blow more money than this game console's worth that I'm on right now just to play 3 games.
That's understandable. I completely understand that.
At that point, for the collectors, I'm saying, listen, I respect what you do. Same thing for YouTubers and streamers and stuff. But I'm not paying you $300 to play a game that's still wrapped up in a piece of plastic.
No, that's
I'm not
true.
going to go buy a PlayStation 1 disc because it's those black, very easily scratchable discs. I'll get like 10 minutes into it and the whole game won't work. If I really, really want to screw the pooch on this, I can go down and install a PSX emulator in my computer and play it. But I'd rather play it on the console because then I'm buying it. I don't feel like I'm pirating a game.
That is true.
Sony doesn't want to make money off of. That's Sony's fault, not mine. I want to play the game. It's accessible online on my computer, not on my PlayStation. I want to play it on the same platform I've been playing the game on since I'm like 5 years old.
Yeah, but that's also another thing. A lot of people will still claim as the game is not that is not actually worth that much money. That's why at one point it's like, hey, you know what? That's why it kind of gets me upset because it's like, hey, you know what? I'm like, hey, why can't you just spend the money to buy the game? It's a fair price. That's just where in certain areas where it's like, hey, you know what? It's a fair price. Why don't you just go ahead and spend the extra money? They're making money off of it, and then why not? But a lot of people don't want to do that as well. So as much as I do agree that maybe that they could put another idea of trying to I would say just like making the game, like bringing the games come back, and then just like giving like the people like all classic games like from PlayStation 1 and stuff like that. But that's also another thing with the money. It's like it's what people would think, hey, you know what, is worth that amount of money. And some people would think that the classics are not worth that much. That's why it's kind of difficult, and that's why I always tend to say that because I came up with this conclusion that the gamer is not the gaming community are not really good with the wallet. Because it's like, hey, you know what? We'll go ahead and give them the classics. Hey, you know what? Instead of when the game came out, it was like $40-$50. We're giving you the whole game $15 or $10. And then people won't go ahead and pay that money for it. It's I get what you're saying. Like I would like to go ahead and pay another $5 for my PlayStation 2 games, like PlayStation 2 games or PlayStation 1 games. Hell, I'll pay another $20 or $30 for the Sly Cooper collection. I'll pay another $20 or $30 for the Ratchet and Clank collection. Hell, I'll pay another $20 or $30 or probably another $10 for the first ever Rayman game. And you know what the thing is just that it's just the idea that people will not pay that much money and say, oh, you know what? There's nothing updated about it. There's nothing crazy about it. There's nothing like good about it. It's just another game that the company is making money off of.
Yeah.
I'm yeah. So it's like
Um,
it's literally like as I said, it's a double-edged sword that they're actually falling on. You know what I mean?
I'm looking right now in this PlayStation View or whatever, View, that thing where it has like 700 and some games. I'm not gonna lie to you, dude. Like most of these games, if I had an Xbox 360, I could just play on that for most of these, right?
Mm.
You got, yeah, you got the God of War series just slapped on for its own little display. You got Disney games, but let's be honest. How many of these games does like 40% of the player base even know about? Because they never played them. Like bridge constructor, yeah. If I was gonna download this for my daughters when they turn 4 or 5, which by then we're probably gonna hear something close to like a PlayStation 6 at the rate this stuff's going anymore, I could just get it then. But why pay a subscription to play these games when I could just pay $20 or $30 and get the game from like 2 consoles ago? Or, I mean, if that's really Sony's thing, they're worried about money-wise. Again, because of people that collect all their games and keep them, you got digital-only playback compatibility. That's fine, but make it accessible to all your games.
Yeah,
All of them.
I
Don't
feel
just make it to 2 or 3 consoles, because let's be honest, PlayStation 2 might have had the largest selection of games, but wouldn't say they had some of the best games out there.
mm,
They did. They really did. They had a lot of, hits, but again, there's like, I would, if they didn't already release information for that Crash Bandicoot Tag Team Racing game, I would have paid $30 or $40 to download that and play that, in PlayStation 1 format. I wouldn't care.
mm,
But now they're going back and making it like it's
like,
not it's not worth it to me.
what I feel like is if they're gonna be doing PlayStation Now or something like that, I feel like that should go with your PlayStation Plus membership. Instead of just having to pay an extra $15. I feel like if you have a yeah, like if you're doing PlayStation Now, like it should go with your PlayStation Plus, like with Xbox Arcade. I think that should be fair. I feel like as if the game should be free doing so. Um, like for instance, that would actually sell like the memberships a lot more, in my opinion. I think that would be really good. But I do understand, like, instead of paying the $15 a month, that you could just pay like the one payment of $30 or $40 to get the full game and keep it.
Yeah, and if you're guaranteed to have it on PlayStation 5, what exactly is it going to matter if you're paying $30 or $40? Because come the next, console installment, we have all our old games right here to re-download, all in one sitting.
Hmm.
Instead of making us like drool over these games, be like, do we want to pay a monthly subscription to play the games that we literally just played on the previous console that we got rid of, or we still have because this one came out?
That is true. I do
And
agree.
I'm not gonna lie to you, dude. Listen, anybody that has a PlayStation 4 and a PlayStation 3, most of these games you can get at GameStop for like $5 or $10
Yeah.
instead of paying a subscription. Like there's half of these aren't even worth getting a subscription for.
Yeah, except for the indie games, like some of the indie games that I do like.
Oh yeah, indie games, yeah, but like you have Cars Matter National, never even heard of it.
Hmm.
You got uh, Clockwork Tales.
Hell, remember the Scott Pilgrim video game?
Yeah.
That was my
Uh-huh.
thing. That was my thing. That was my major thing. I was like, all
Day
up
of the
on that.
Tentacle just sounds like something that came off like an X-rated website. That's just no.
Yeah.
No,
Yep.
I can't. D Blob, and he looks like the android dude doing like a winky peace sign. It's just no,
Yeah,
no.
that's true. Well, I'm gonna close the stream off a little bit. So thank you guys for watching. As you see, we are gonna probably do a lot more of these debates and a lot more of these talks. I'm probably gonna get a lot more people involved in this. Um, like for instance, like we're gonna continue doing these type of episodes. So with that, definitely subscribe to the EHG community. Definitely turn on your notifications when we get new streams, new videos set out. Definitely join us on our Facebook group, our Discord channel, and make sure to subscribe to our moderators, where all links are in the description. Uh, and also, as I said, we are taking donations for a actual PC. If anything, any amount of money would be so helpful. We're trying to get a PC for making the actual streams a lot better, for making just to bring people in the PC area to be part of our streams, and for to make our videos a lot more better for you guys. So that'll be all for today. Walter, thank you very much for joining into this actual talk show today. And of course we're gonna be doing more. But this is your boy CrazyMax98, aka Nicholas Morales, founder of the EHGCommunity, and with my friend here Walter Lash. And thank you very much, and stay tuned for another episode of The Black Hole.